one game without being picked or banned, and every other time it has actually been either played or taken off the field of battle.
And if I recall correctly, both these teams have both played that champion at this point in this tournament, so you know it's available in these teams' rosters. Now, still, it's actually more aggressive early game junglers being taken away by GamingGear. And this is actually, I like this idea actually. So instead of just banning out against Cool a whole bunch, which is a viable strategy, they're banning out the really good early game junglers, the ones that are very hard to play against from LoveLin, saying, look, as long as LoveLin can't make the plays as one of the best junglers in the world, we can survive the dives otherwise, we can survive the lanes otherwise, we'll get past that early game state, and then win in mid-game.
Well, we'll have to see if that plan works out for them, because as we've already highlighted, OMG's 3v1 tower dives have been some of the best that we've probably seen ever, actually. They've pulled off those 3.5-minute dives a couple of times already, and it's just so well executed and well structured. And as you were highlighting, Orianna has been locked in there for Mazzerin.
So the Orianna is one of the two big comfort picks for Mazzerin there. Again, that and Gragas. Yeah, it's not going to be a real one. I like the Jarvan pickup as well, because it is a bit of a steal away from Alunir. It's something he's been playing a lot of. The Renekton is also a steal right here, and Renekton Orianna actually is such a very scary combo to deal with. You've got another good champion for ball delivery. You can turn Renekton into an initiator. But of course, with the rest of the junglers not banned out, here's the Aatrox available. Again, NBS has been playing Aatrox before. He can initiate fights. There's a lot of good options here for GamingGear.
Also, if that Aatrox gets thrown into the jungle, it'll be the first time that we see Alunir actually playing a non-Jarvan in the fourth jungler. So we'll have to see what they decide to run with as this goes on. Zyra has been already secured for GamingGear.EU. So that versatility of that top lane and jungle pick, depending on where they want to put the Aatrox, leaving it for last.
Yeah, we'll see where it ends up going here. And this is actually smart because the thing is, they don't need to be super versatile with the top lane. They know Renekton's there. And again, just because NBS has played it before, I expect that to be Aatrox top, really at the end of it all. But what you're going to watch here is where else Cool wants to go with these picks, because he could have gone Ahri, he could have gone Fizz, wanted the Gragas in here actually to help knock back some of the front line, help disrupt team fights. And what I'm curious to see is what type of Gragas we see. Minecraft talks a lot about the sieging Gragas, who pokes people off of turrets. We saw actually when it was picked up against Fnatic by Ozone, it was to try to disengage the dive team.
Without having their AD carry locked in, I imagine that focus could change. If they pair that with the likes of a Caitlyn, it would aid them in that tower pressure. If they pair it with the likes of a Vayne or something like that, it could aid them in trying to find those picks and the kills. So maybe OMG leaving the overall strategy to this last and final pick once they've seen all of the Lithuanian champions locked in.
Well, the team composition for OMG actually works really well as a scrapping team. You've got Jarvan, who can initiate without waiting for his ultimate, compared to someone like Vi. He can keep looking for battles. Renekton's a really good jungle brawler as well. And that's actually, and then of course Gragas can, again, get around the walls, jump into fights a whole lot, and do a bunch of burst damage. So OMG looks like a team who just wants to scrap in the jungle a whole bunch and contest for objectives. And so an AD carry who can fight often is really good, more so than like a Sieger.
Well, we'll have to see what they decide to confirm. The GamingGear composition has been rounded out now with that Vayne and that Zac. So Aatrox and Zac, we'll see what they decide to throw. We have seen NBS running Aatrox in the top lane, so this could be a jungle Zac. And, you know, we always talk about that ball delivery system. You can throw it on Aatrox, you can throw it on Zac. Either of them will do well. Against a team like OMG, I also see that counter initiation and zone control of Zyra playing into their favor if they're able to time their abilities correctly. So I quite like what GamingGear have stuck together right now.
I do too. Zyra actually makes a lot of sense against a Jarvan Renekton combo. And remember that the Zyra was locked in after OMG showed both of those two champions. And so she says, yes, you guys can dive in, but I will knock you up, I will root you in place. And with this lineup that OMG shows, the Vayne is safe. If DeadlyBrother plays a good laning phase and scales up, he will do very well in these team fights. There's not a lot of great assassination potential as long as FiddleStiks doesn't catch him.
Well, we'll have to see how it pans out for them. Kog'Maw has been locked in as the AD carry for OMG. So a vastly different composition for what we've been seeing as far as the bottom three lanes are concerned. This is the first time Gragas for Cool in this tournament, the first time Kog'Maw, and the fourth different AD carry for San. He has played Kate, Corki, Tristana, and now Kog'Maw, so he's really showing diversity in his champion pool.
It's interesting to me that he actually showed Kog'Maw as opposed to someone like Tristana, just because there's a lot of backline diving available, and Tristana is a little bit more selfish, can push back the Zac, but we'll see how the Kog goes. He'll do a good job killing tanks in the front line.
Definitely going to have to keep his control of that W locked down. Guys, before we get to this game, let's check out who you actually think is going to walk away with that W. According to LOLesports.com, 93% of you guys think that OMG will go to 4-0 and end the first half of the group stage with a perfect record.
And all the analysts said OMG as well. This is one of those games where everyone's on the same page, so we might all get it right or wrong, but the standings won't change.
There is a very big problem with all of the analysts agreeing on OMG. Crepo has picked them too.
Oh.
And traditionally, he has not been the most accurate. So we'll have to see how this one works out. The game is loading up. This is definitely going to be a difficult game as far as Gaming Gear are concerned. OMG have already taken down SKT, and SKT have beaten Gaming Gear. So if you use that logic, OMG should be able to pick this one up. But I imagine the real question is where these lanes going to set up. Vayne Zyra against a Cog Fiddle that's definitely duo lanes we don't see all that often anywhere, really.
If I remember properly what Doubles was talking about, and now, mind you, this was when Gambit was playing the Sona Cog duo lane, he said that, yeah, Cog's going to do well against Vayne in lane. Now, he might have been referring more to the support picks right there, but in general, I do like, you know, Vayne is very short range, FiddleStiks is it's easy for Fiddle to land a Terrify and screw with the Vayne and make his life really difficult, and Kog'Maw is really good at landing auto attacks onto opponents, and again, picking Vayne down and doing a lot of damage there. So, if I understand it correctly, actually a pretty decent 2v2 for OMG.
Well, we'll see how they match up. You did see multiple members of OMG sneaking themselves towards this top half of the map, and Gaming Gear backing out just as they were approaching that brush. So a lot of members of both teams stacking up on this top half of the map. OMG definitely signaling intentions to invade here.
And this is the thing, is they also want some ward control just to get the lane matchups right as well. That's actually also very important. And that's actually a lot of what we tend to see with the ward patterns, is they watch where the duo lane goes, where the solo lane goes, also where the jungle pass goes. They can watch for dives. As we saw with when SKT fought OMG, not spotting the jungler in time, getting dived by LoveLin was a fatal mistake for the Koreans.
Well, OMG decided to back away. Everybody was clenching their teeth for a moment as that dark wind from bigpomelo was bouncing across the members of Gaming Gear. There is some deep wards there, so OMG will at least know Alunir's path through the jungle. But this is the first time we're seeing him on this jungle Aatrox, and we didn't even talk about the fact that MBS actually has that top lane Zac, so slightly more traditional positions for these champions.
And there's actually a very small risk that Gambit, or not, I keep saying the GG and thinking it's Gambit Gaming, that Gaming Gear are going for, because they're starting the buff with their solo lane against what's basically 1v2 matchup. If OMG ran for an invade right away, they would actually have a 2v2 fight right there and force an early smite or win a battle. We've seen that actually happen with the likes of Vulcan before, but Gaming Gear are unpunished for their choice of buff, and this actually allows a lot more safety for Alunir's second half of the jungle.
Well, we'll see how he decides to roll after securing those buffs. LoveLin has picked himself up that red buff right now, and Gaming Gear do have their preferred setup of the 2v1 lane. Gogoing with that lifeguard Renekton up in the top lane. He's been zoned out of any experience or any CS right now, and that very long range of Zyra going to make his life a bit difficult in his opening couple of minutes.
And this is a good thing for Gaming Gear, because Zac does more with low gold than Renekton does with low gold. Zac can just pop his crowd control, knock people in the air, split into his passive, and more or less do his job. So if NBS gets starved and Gogoing gets starved, it's a good thing for Gaming Gear.
Well, I'll have to see how it works out for them. MBS right now still 0 to Gogoing 0 as well. A very slow start. Neither of these lanes really even trying to get any sort of harass down or poke on one another, and DeadlyBrother just wants to get as much CS as possible.
And he's actually soaking up experience pretty well. The solo laner's actually already hit level 2 before the turret dive can even happen, even if Alunir were looking for that. So that's actually a bit of a lead there for Gogoing. Just in case the dive did happen, though none of these junglers are looking for the early aggression, both junglers actually looking to defend and extend this 2v1 phase.
At this point in time, Alunir is moving towards this bottom lane to help defend NBS and maybe fend off any potential dive. However, LoveLin up on the top lane is mimicking this position. So we're going to see that almost 2v2 defense of the tower and supportive jungling movements as opposed to the ganks or the kill positions that we've seen.
And one thing that's interesting about the fact that these guys went for defense was Alunir was set up to go top lane. He started at his red, went towards his blue, was on the top side of the map. Whereas LoveLin started at the top side of the map and hit level 3 over at the bottom, but there were no wards inside of OMG's jungle. So GamingGear had no way of knowing if LoveLin was waiting for a counter gank or completely on the wrong side of the map, so they weren't able to go for the 3v1 dive.
All right, now Alunir at level 4 with 17 CS is practically double the amount of LoveLin. Of course, that Jarvan has been trying to help defend this tower with a shorter range on Vayne. Makes it a little more unsafe if you're trying to get any DPS down onto that tower. And for the time being, GamingGear happy to be passively farming up.
Yeah, they are so far. Honestly, getting a Vayne with some free farm is going to be a pretty wonderful thing. Internet Explorer, unfortunately, League of Legends is still doing fine, though, so not a big deal.
Yeah, that is it. We have switched back over, and now we see Mazzerin has been jumped on. Fool's already burnt that Ignite. Mazzerin forced to fall backwards, but is sitting on 250 HP. He doesn't have any potions to use, though, so may have to recall and get back. Great there from Gogoing. He's going to use Renekton and shuts down that ward the moment it's put down.
And I like the early recall from LoveLin for the wards. It will allow him to exert a bunch of control over this mid game. With the pink ward, he can set up a gank path. With the green ward, he can set up defense as well for any one of the isolated lanes. For example, NBS wouldn't have to recall if LoveLin warded for him.
Well, LoveLin right now, with that blue buff still on, no longer has the red buff available to him. Currently level 4 against DeadlyBrother's level 4. We see in the bottom lane, Alunir has now returned. He was sitting mid, was helping protect Mazzerin for a little bit, and has now decided to come and slow down the bottom lane. This is arguably one of the slowest starts that we've seen from OMG. They haven't committed to any sort of fights, and they seem to be quite content farming. As we talk about that, that's a flash forward into a stun on DeadlyBrother. The roots don't land. Exhaust is on Gogoing. 110 HP left as DeadlyBrother's trying to get away. 2 seconds for Cole the Meek. He gets up, but the Dragon Lance manages to secure it. Inspirro's going to walk out, and OMG, they managed to pick up first blood.
And I was actually about to say that when you see 2v2 lanes, once like level 4 hits, you'll sometimes see these guys go for a dive because they built a level lead. And so the dive worked very successfully there for OMG. The knock-up combo, the double stuns, you just chase the Vayne down. That was really well played by these guys.
A lot of summoner spells burned in that as well. Neither Gogoing nor LoveLin having their flashes available, but you can definitely type worth it in caps once you secure that first blood, especially for the likes of LoveLin's Jarvan, who still has not used those wards that you highlighted earlier, and has now picked himself up some boots of mobility, so he'll be able to at least roam around the map and make even better use of that vision. It simply wasn't needed in that top lane.
So LoveLin picking up the Spirit Stone. It's interesting because you're right. Kobe talked about First Blood giving you boots of mobility. He's actually, not gone for it. Gone for a little bit more jungle clear, interestingly. But yes, he can cash in with the pink ward. They can actually pull Gogoing. At 7 minutes, you probably could contest a dragon because you have the numbers lead in the bottom half of the map if they wanted to give up top lane pressure. That's a theoretical possibility for these guys. But it seems like they're more worried about keeping the lanes in good shape, maybe setting up a couple more ganks, and keeping turrets in good shape.
At this point in time, that blue buff will be coming up from GamingGear in the not-too-distant future, and we'll have to see if LoveLin puts any concerted effort on that. As it stands, he's roaming towards this top lane, has just stepped right over a ward, does still get condemned into the wall, but not the wall DeadlyBrother was planning.
So nothing really going to be found there. Like, LoveLin's staying at the top side of the map. He can keep trying to contest that lane. And honestly, he could revisit Vayne. There's no summoner spells left aside from Inspirro's flash over there. So the ability to dive still very much exists for these guys. OMG really could keep revisiting that lane, and it would probably work out for him.
Gogoing has hit level 6. He's got a 10 CS advantage over NBS's Zac right now. And of course, if he's able to lock anybody down with its stun or the knock-up of Jarvan, his ultimate will allow him to shred through them. We see San and bigpomelo now fending off some minions on this bottom wave. We see he's 63 CS to the 58 of DeadlyBrother. So mechanically, GamingGear are keeping mostly up as far as the CS is concerned.
You're doing a pretty good job. There's the attempted dive there on a DeadlyBrother, but there's not enough follow-up damage available. And there's a lot of MIA pings coming out right now from GamingGear because they don't see Cool. Of course, Cool is just grabbing his blue buff, but that's what's now unlocked in this map. Orianna, not a great roamer, but Gragas is. And so OMG's got a better mid lane for fighting, but Alunir is already set up to dive this top lane.
Inspirro's currently level 5. He's a couple minions away from that level 6. We'll have to see if the Stranglethorns is available for use in this fight. If he can get a good route down, maybe might be enough. That's a level 6 Alunir as well, so they have the recipe. They just need to land the CC in order to pick up kills here.
The lane's unfortunately not pushing. Look at how passively OMG are playing. They're actually not trying to re-dive. They haven't had eyes on Alunir in a very long time. And even though we know OMG loves to dive and fight all the time, they're checking their aggression when they know there's elements that are question marks here on the map.
Well, as long as those questions remain unanswered, OMG are not committing to anything they don't want to. Cool. Toying with positioning, making Mazzerin scared, knocks him backwards. Body slam is available, throws it down. Ignite is now ticking, it continues chasing. 200 HP and he forces Mazzerin backwards, but not enough to pick up the kill. And Cool just really stomping authority on the lane. We do see there's an engagement up in the top lane. Cataclysm was used, Stranglethorns was available. They contemn going backwards, and DeadlyBrother, the 100 HP, gets out cleanly. The Ignite, not enough to securing him, but OMG winning every skirmish in every lane.
They traded the, basically they got rid of the exhaust, but here comes a spear onto Alunir.
Oh, look at that fear, throws Alunir backwards, the silence comes up, Barrel continues to put damage down, but thanks to that command protect, Alunir manages to get out mostly cleanly. Flash was burned. Tower in the bottom lane has been picked up for OMG, and they may get top as well.
Alunir's been spending so much time trying to gank the mid lane and not succeeding, whereas LoveLin's been helping his 1v2 top lane that San and bigpomelo just got damage in the turret slowly but surely until it fell over, whereas the top lane was never in danger. And now, because of the lopsided engagement, it's a bit of a lead here on the bottom side of the map for OMG.
And now with, of course, that FiddleStiks fear and the ability to tank up that dragon, Cool, San, and bigpomelo secure this without the aid of LoveLin's jungle Jarva, and that smite not even needed. Numbers advantage, they extend that gold lead to 3,000 gold within 30 seconds. And it's at this point that GamingGear need to stop, plug the hole in their ship, as it were, because OMG are pulling further and further ahead.
Yeah, they've got to really realign their gears here and just get working as one well-oiled machine. A little bit of damage goes onto that top turret, but as we just said, the fact that LoveLin has kept this lane going really well for Renekton, kept the turret from taking damage, there's just no headway to be made here from GamingGear. The only turret that they could really pressure here is the mid lane when Cool goes to roam. But when Cool goes to roam, there's probably a kill that OMG will pick up for it.
Well, LoveLin is now, does not have his Cataclysm available, trying to get in range. DeadlyBrother and Inspirro were backing away as LoveLin was approaching, so they did see him coming from that Tribush ward, and you can see Sun now taking over defense of this top tower from Gogoing. He's now going to try to fight against this other hyper carrier, Vayne, and he's got a small item advantage right now with that Phage and Zeal. So we're going to see another Trinity Force Kog'Maw. This will be the third of Worlds, if I recall correctly.
It's definitely been the only build we've seen from Kog'Maw so far here. Even though Double have said it was weird and inefficient and he'd rather see Blade of the Ruin King come out from this champion, seems that everyone else on the world stage seems to agree, and we'll see if it pays off here as well for San. Just 0-0-0 so far, but building the minion kill lead. But what's interesting to me is the pink ward that OMG put down in the top lane River Brush. It looks like they're trying to keep pressure on that side of the map, that their bottom lane is winning by its own. They've already killed the turret. Here's their next sort of focus that they're going to put effort on.
Well, we'll see if they manage to take the tower down, and where they go from that, as it stands right now, going with a 73 CS advantage, a 13 CS advantage over his opponent MBS, is working towards that Sunfire Cape. And just going to become a tanky, beefy crocodile like only Renekton can. The numbers are still close, but the thing is, OMG just got more presence on the map. It seems that GamingGear, and Alunir in particular, he hasn't been a factor in the game as of yet. We haven't seen knockups from him. We haven't really seen him put any damage onto any of OMG's champions.
Exactly. He's been trying to gank the entire time, and none of it has succeeded. And here comes a dive.
bigpomelo's going to throw down the Crowstorm. We finally see Alunir getting involved. bigpomelo forced to flash away as the Stranglethorns throw San up into the air. He now backs away. Living Artillery is going to smack down in the faces of GamingGear. They continue to focus down as the tower is now dropped in the background. That's 3 quick kills as the passive of Zyra comes out. Throws down the true damage, but it is going to be a dead Zyra, and that's 3 plus a tower, and OMG just make it look easy, even with that Stranglethorn.
They used the low HP tower to really bait GamingGear into defending right there. They killed the turret during the engagement and just took the kills. There's so much crowd control available there, the silence, the tanky frontliners. That's just a fight you get to do when you're ahead.
Now Mazzerin's in a little bit of trouble. You see Cool coming in from the background. Command attack going out, trying to clear the wave. He's feared, he's silenced, he is crushed by LoveLin, who is now on a killing spree at 3-0-2. And OMG are now 5 kills ahead, 2 towers to 0. They've got a dragon, and it's accumulating to 6 10,000 gold right now.
And this looks like the OMG that is 3-0 in the group stage. This is the OMG that people are saying, you know what? They're topping the group and they're showing how strong they are. This fight's going to be interesting. I expect Gogoing to win this fight.
Gogoing actually started that dominus just to help finish off the red buff, and NBX basically jumped into the damage. Cool right now does not have that explosive cask available, and Alunir is just going to walk away saying, I don't really want to fight this Gragas right now.
Yeah, so OMG are just taking really everything from the map right now. 2 outer turrets already gone, 5-0 in kills. Everything is really going these guys' way. And this is, to me now, you kind of want to look at this and for all the other teams say, look, this is OMG. They have made every choice correctly. When you look at what the junglers did, Alunir trying to gank and never succeeding, whereas LoveLin stayed top lane, actually got a kill for his team, kept his turret alive, whereas the OMG dual lane killed a turret. Decision-making's been good for OMG. All the die's been good for OMG. This is another one.
Oh, take a look at that. Bounces DeadlyBrother backwards, condemns him into the wall. Cool got stunned up, and he decides to back away. You actually seen Sun and bigpomelo. They did not follow in. They didn't chase that down. Maybe Cool biting off a little more than he can chew right now.
Yeah, that probably wasn't the most successful idea from him, but he has some cool direction in his build. His explosive cast actually most of the way back from cooldown. And Gragas runs around so fast, and the team is so well coordinated, he left mid, but LoveLin took over the mid lane farm. So they didn't even miss anything for doing that. In fact, they burned Vayne's ultimate, and Gragas will be back first.
Well, bigpomelo now just hiding off to the side of this. OMG pushing all 3 lanes simultaneously, and we're seeing really controlled aggression from them. Knock up, oh, not landing this time around as LoveLin's flag and drag, not throwing him towards Alunir. And he's going to use that Dark Flight to get out. Now, the cask is not up yet. There, Gragas' ultimate becomes available, and that's a flash from Alunir. He was afraid of the fear of Fiddle, and that's going to allow OMG to secure the last outer tower if they stick around in this mid lane.
They should be able to. They've actually pulled their AD carry into this lane. The fact that Son is not leaving means he's here for the push, and I don't see this getting turned around. You'll see some poke from Zyra, but that's a dead turret.
Yeah, nothing to really worry about. So tower number 3 falls. Cool has his ultimate available. He's actually going to throw a barrel and sidestep to the right. Let's see about the knockup. They catch Inspirro. He's locked in with Cataclysm. The ultimate comes down from Gragas and doesn't catch anybody from GamingGear. They are going to walk out, but they got the Stranglethorn. So Inspirro's massive CC not going to be available if a fight were to break out.
And if they want to go for this one, with Dragon up in 3 seconds, OMG has full control. Everyone on the team for OMG on the bottom half of the map, it's fully theirs.
So Gogoing throws down Dominus. He's trying to battle out DeadlyBrother. In comes bigpomelo from the side. Nobody's caught by those crows. DeadlyBrother now recommits onto bigpomelo. That massive 3-second fear into Drain. Fiddle is still alive. Fiddle gets out cleanly before Alunir comes in. Throws down the Massacre to secure the first kill of the game for GamingGear. Now he's running like only Alunir can. The Bloodwell comes out. He's stuck down in the passive, and OMG secure the 8th kill. They're going to take the bottom inner turret if they want to tank it up. Going to decide back as MBS is going to be a tasty, juicy target. The double revives of Zach and Aatrox not going to be enough. OMG just in a commanding lead.
That was really interesting fight awareness by OMG because Zach was reviving under the turret. LoveLin tried to deal some damage, was like, actually, the turret's doing too much. You guys can kill him later. Go dive the Aatrox. I'll just zone him out on the other side of the map. And they picked up the kill anyway, despite the Zach revive coming through. These guys are in complete control. So, one thing you talked about a little while back was the Trinity Force Kog'Maw. And what I actually like about the Trinity Force Kog'Maw is 2 things. So one is you can re-trigger the double base damage Sheen proc with your ultimate very easily. But also, when you trigger your W, you get 700 plus range, and it counts as spell cast. So the very first thing you can do is be like, I hit you for 300 damage. And in a laning phase situation, you just get to poke Vayne. And they actually, once they got Trinity Force done, he went to go fight the Vayne matchup and said, I'm going to poke you for 300 damage every time his ability's up, plus my ultimate.
And you can't discount the mobility it gives you as well. Right now, LoveLin with that Oracle's Elixir and finally getting the boost of mobility. I got boost of mobility, it was just be confused earlier. He is now roaming around this map. Cataclysm is up, as is his Flash. The Dragon is available for taking, and OMG with this immense 10,000 gold lead before 20 minutes, as well as the Ring of Vision on that bottom half of the map, could decide to go for it. We do see blue buff was secured by DeadlyBrother. Oh, it just respawned actually. I'm being very silly. LoveLin and Gogoing going to secure this one up. Sun actually gets that last hit with his living artillery.
I like that a lot, because now that Kog'Maw's level 11, the rank 2 Cog ultimate not only gets more range than rank 1, so he can use it more safely, but it deals a lot more damage as well, and he can actually poke GG off their turrets. There's no sustainer on that team. They can get some real headway now on this siege and get into the base by 20 minutes.
The fifth tower of the game has now fallen. Command attack being used just for vision here from Mazzerin, trying to keep tabs on the Chinese players' movements. They now roll to the mid lane to secure their sixth tower of the game. This is turning into a PvE matchup as OMG are just completely controlling this map. Now, Crowstorm is available, and we've seen bigpomelo not afraid to use that in fights. And Vayne wasn't even able to kill him in the previous one.
No, exactly. And this is really smart by OMG. They've already taken the 6 outer turrets down before 20 minutes because there's been no global gold coming in because the lanes are pressured so much. There's no items coming in, and here's the dive.
Oh, Crowstorm comes out, a very nice route, just going to keep OMG backwards, but it's not going to be enough. San secures the first kill of the fight on Mazzerin. Shockwave was not even used, and now Inspirro is going to need to find some inspirational music to save him. He gets dropped down. It's a second kill for San. He's now unstoppable at 5-0-4. A good condemn into the wall is going to force Gogoing to flash, but MBS didn't even get the knock-up in there. Let's Bounce comes out. And GamingGear are all over the place right now. They are just being split up, and OMG are having their way. The inhibitor turret is now being focused down, and a 5 versus 3 defense. There's no ultimates available here for the defending members of GamingGear, and it looks like they're going to back away. The tower will drop very, very soon, and OMG, they're going to decide to back away as GamingGear respawns.
Yeah, that is the aggressive take no prisoner style of the top teams in China. Look how little room to breathe they have given GamingGear. Nothing was held away from them. Okay, we'll protect our own turrets, but then, oh, we got the first turret. Oh, we got the first kill. We'll take everything now. OMG turn back for Dragon. That'll take them all of 15 seconds. But as he said, it was in 20 minutes 6 turrets were down. No items, no good items have come in for the GamingGear lineup, and OMG keeps diving and forcing the fights and constantly just knocking at the front door.
GamingGear now with a 5-man stack in this mid lane. They're trying to get onto this tower. The Shockwave comes out. It only manages to catch Cool. He's going to flash away from the roots, and Inspirro and the rest of the team still unable to secure that tower. 0 towers for GamingGear right now. Take a look at those gold values in the bottom of your screen. 3,000 difference between basically everybody. 80 carries, that's 4,000 right now. It's so difficult to do anything with that sort of item differential.
It's brutal. It's really, really, really brutal. DeadlyBrother just now has finished Blade of the Ruin King, so he can finally be a little bit useful in fights. But when you're fighting a Renekton with Brutalizer and Sunfire Cape, he'll kill you.
Inspirro almost gets one-shotted there from Cool's Gragas. Dominus is thrown down by Gogoing. A flash forward from LoveLin. He slam dunks the Cataclysm. DeadlyBrother forced to flash out as NBS follows suit. The Blades of Torment is going to slow members of OMG in the background, and Gogoing's Dominus is about to wear out. A very good Stranglethorn throws up OMG. Now DeadlyBrother silenced up. He can't tumble. The first victim of the fight is Gogoing as GamingGear double their kill score. We do see in the background NBS was dropped, and San is chasing. The mobility of that Trinity Force is so strong. He's out of mana though, so can't keep spamming those living artilleries, and this is going to allow OMG to secure the inhibitor.
Even a 1-for-1 is enough for these guys though. OMG will be able to get the first one, and there's a minion wave at the bottom turret as well.
So they're going to turn their focus down onto this tower. The Condemn actually pushes Cool to safety as the body slam gets him out of distance of that wall. So Inhibitor is now down at 22 minutes with a 10 kill advantage and a massive gold lead. OMG, it's up to them what they want to do. They can most likely clear the jungle, maybe go for Baron, and then try to force down the last towers. They've played a very controlled game so far.
Yeah, it's worth giving San a full mana bar, letting him take red buff. And they don't even need to go for Baron. Sure, they could choose to if they wanted. Nothing would stop them. They'd get it and have another easy way to push into the base. But basically, seeing OMG close out games is important to watch, because we've seen scorelines this different before and have them take another 10 minutes to close out. One thing that OMG does very well, I think, is efficiently close games, as long as they pick the right fights. Occasionally they pick wrong ones, but they're usually very good at winning quickly. Yeah,
when we think about Mineski in Group B, they have been in similar situations and really held on with the skin in their teeth at the last minute to fight out, dragging games out multiple minutes, picking up, defending turret aces in certain situations against the likes of Ozone. So Gaming Gear may have a similar situation on their hands. Right now, OMG have decided to go for that Baron, and it's dropping very, very quickly with the damage of Cogmore.
And they've got plenty of ward control. They will see GG coming in and can choose to disengage at a moment's notice.
Let's Bounce has just become available for NBS. Is he going to fling himself in? That's the question. He does, but the Baron's already down, and the rest of Gaming Gear say, sorry, bro, we're out. They back away. NBS is going to be the first victim of this fight, and the rest of OMG trying to chase down Gaming Gear. A little bit of miscommunication there, I feel.
NBS didn't need to be the one to go in. He can't smite. You can't trust that you're going to outsmite one of the best junglers in the world when you don't even have the summoner spell yourself. At the very least, wait for Alunir. But here's a 5v4 with Baron buff. This is surely OMG closing out the game.
20 seconds on the clock before NBS is available. Let's Bounce will not be there when he respawns. The tower's going to fall. OMG now onto the second inhibitor turret. There are super minions pouring down the middle lane, and OMG may decide to close this one out. Even in a 5v5 situation, it seems impossible to me that Gaming Gear could win a fight. The statistic difference is just too big. OMG going to play this one safe, though, and go down to the bottom lane. DeadlyBrother just gets one-shotted there. A shockwave pulls him backwards. The knockup not really landing there from Alunir.
Oh.
Now we see the barrel from Cool knocking everyone clean out safely. The barrier wears off, and DeadlyBrother falls suit. Now OMG are going to secure their third kill of the fight. Mazzerin flashes onto the fountain, and Sand pops down the barrier to survive the laser. They're onto the Nexus turrets, and OMG are going to pick up a very, very clean victory.
16-3 in 25 minutes, not even giving up a single turret kill themselves. Very well executed victory by OMG. Good decisions from the beginning, and they move to 4-0 halfway through the group stage.
Very, very dominant performance from OMG. It was clear they had a game plan coming into this match. They didn't falter, they didn't panic in the game at all, and everything was just so crisp throughout the match.
Crisp is the perfect definition for what OMG did. Every decision they made was on point. If someone died, it was to start a fight and get more kills. If the jungler went somewhere, it paid off, whether it was a gank or a turret defense or a dive. All of them worked. That's the kind of gameplay you see from a team who is on point and are ready to play a world championship.
For GamingGear.EU, if they look back on this game for VOD review and think about what they could have done, the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game before it really snowballed out of the way, if they had made some more plays, if they'd had ganks that had worked, they may have got themselves a bit more in it, but it just, it stayed so stable for so long, and then a couple towers and dragons, and it just escalated.
Exactly, and that's the trouble when you fight OMG. Like, think back to all their wins here. When they get an early game lead, they do not let up. And you cannot let OMG get their early game lead because they have the aggression dial turned to 11, and then they will close the game out and give you no room to breathe. That's the kind of gameplay that's made them top this group.
I do feel that this was their most controlled game.
Yes.
I do think that that was 10.5 for this matchup.
Okay.
We'll see if it continues with the rest of their games. We're going to throw this one over to Riv and the rest of the analysts for a breakdown of OMG's incredibly powerful performance.
Thank you very much, Trevor. And I think everybody, the fans, the viewers here at the desk, tells us OMG by that play, they are still perfect coming into this group stage. So coming out of that, what are we thinking about OMG? Can they be stopped? They've shown us different things all the time. You know, Monty, I'll kick this off with you.
Yeah, I mean, they're still looking next to flawless. I'm impressed that they've managed to come here in a very different circumstance to their normal LPL with the jet lag and still perform so well.
I talked a bit with Tabe from Royal because they just arrived. And Tabe says that OMG practices by far the most out of any Chinese team that he's ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, they were so dominant in the LPL seasons. We've talked about this many times before, but it's really kind of being reinforced right here because we knew that China was a very closed system of League of Legends, especially in the spring split when they were playing a lot of Hecarim, a lot of Malphite, and that actually made me question how strong they'd really be when they came here at Worlds. And at least in this group right now, it kind of seems like, well, that closed system was actually incredibly evolved, and they're actually very strong.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think many of us who pay attention to the Chinese scene have these questions. And that's what's so fun about Worlds, though, right, is that we get to see these different styles that have evolved over the course of the season go head-to-head and have these questions answered.
You know, guys, coming into this matchup, we've seen that Gaming Gear is having a slight bit of trouble. And earlier I asked, you know, the old players as well as current players, And as well, Monty, feel free to chime in. The intensity coming into these matches now that GamingGear.EU is almost on the verge of mathematical elimination from the tournament. What does that do to your mindset coming in, Crepa?
Coming into this tournament, though, they were not the favorite at all. I mean, let's be honest. They didn't expect to get out of groups. They knew they had a slight chance to get out, maybe. I think right now they should just drop the pressure. Enjoy this experience as much as they can. You have to remember, for a team not competing in any of the major leagues, LPL, the OGN tournament in Korea, or even the LCS in North America and Europe, they're one of the teams that get the chance to get in here, like with by the wild card. They got here. They got the World Finals experience. They have the studio experience. All they can do from this is learn and have fun.
Yeah, and it's a second big event they've been able to go to as well. They're at Gamescom in Germany, where they were able to actually win a tournament. And you can tell they're already kind of at least enjoying it. They're always smiling, even with all of this happening. So it is kind of the right mindset to go in, because they are overmatched. And at this point, it's about learning as much as possible.
It's really mean to say, like, used to losing, but it's something like the first loss you take is going to hit you hard. But, like, if you look at it objectively, they're not the favorites, but they're enjoying their time here. They're walking around here before the games. They're not even that stressed. Like, they're really nice guys.
Smiles on the face throughout
always
Champions Select
what
in their
can
seats.
you do better? Especially, like, you can see that the crowd also gets behind a lot of the underdog teams. We saw with Mineski as well. Okay, they weren't doing too well. They're doing the interview, and somebody just shouts, "I love you, Kage." That's, like, really, really nice to see that all these teams, even though they're not doing the best and they're having the largest fan base, that the crowd still gets behind them.
All right, well, with our last match ahead of us, let's right now check out how Group A stacks up with one game left today. OMG stays perfect and finishes the first half of group stage at 4.